Hi everyone, I have what I think is a very interesting video for you tonight. Many of you know that beavers make scent mounds to mark their territory. They carry mud and debris up onto the shore and then they spray it with their scent, and that communicates to other beavers that there is a beaver family in the territory and that this section of the river is occupied. This video takes place at the dock for the Prairie Lily, which is a riverboat in Saskatoon. And actually, the Prairie Lily dock seems to be the dividing line between two beaver territories. There's a beaver family that lives right downtown in Saskatoon. I call them the downtown family. And this beaver here is one member of the downtown family. It's not the biggest one in the family. I believe it's the second biggest. And you can see here that this beaver is adding to an existing mound and then puts his scent on it and gets back in the water. There's also a family of beavers that lives on an island downstream from the Prairie Lily, and they come upstream to mark their territory, and they actually mark on a scent mound right next to the scent mound that the downtown family marks in. Here you can see that first beaver from the downtown family is just exploring the shore and sniffing around, and something that he sniffed seemed to concern him, and he hustled back into the water and started swimming back upstream towards his own territory. Although I've seen both families come to the Prairie Lily, I haven't seen them there at the same time. So I didn't know if they're peaceful neighbors. About 10 minutes later, that first beaver came back. He went into the shallower water and appears to start scooping up sand, so I thought he was going to add to the scent pile again when I suddenly realized a beaver had come from downstream and approached. You see that he very aggressively chased the first beaver away. There was then another fight on the other side of the dock that I couldn't get on tape. The second beaver that had come from downstream then came back into sight, and he seemed very agitated. He came over and quite aggressively added to the scent pile and marked this as his territory. I have read somewhere that in making their scent piles, beavers can show that they're strong and physical by carrying their load further on shore. And I think this beaver was about to make a statement. You'll see him aggressively pick up some sand. He starts walking on shore. I thought he was going to that scent pile, but instead he squeezed under the bar and kept walking and went all the way up to the plants that grow near the walkway. To me, it seemed like he was saying, I will show them, and he made a scent mound much further up on the shore, and then he quite aggressively scooped around there and then sprayed his scent before sniffing around. I should say right now that by no means am I an expert in beaver behavior. I have watched these families. I know about scent mounds, but certainly it's possible some information I relay might not be supportable or correct, but it's certainly what I've observed from these families. And if there's any beaver experts out there that want to weigh in and correct what I'm seeing, by all means, please do. So after a few minutes of sniffing around shore, this beaver started heading back downstream towards his own territory. After the second beaver swam downstream, I went looking for the first beaver. I found him sort of hiding behind the observation dock, but eventually he swam back in the direction of the scent mounds and I went over there to see what would happen. He was approaching the scent mounds when he suddenly stopped and turned around, and so I cast my gaze the other way and realized that second beaver was still around and appeared to have been marking his territory again, and then swam back in the direction where the confrontation had taken place. At this point, I noticed the first beaver had decided to swim away and was crossing the river and heading upstream. The second beaver kept coming and then ducked under the dock to go see and make sure that the other beaver, in fact, was leaving. He popped out on the other side of the dock and appeared to do a circle to make sure that the coast was clear and that the other beaver had vacated. After ensuring that the coast was clear, that second beaver came back and then marked his scent on both of the two scent mounds that are in front of the prairie lily dock. After leaving his scent on both mounds, he got back in the water and started swimming downstream towards his lodge, which is on an island a few hundred meters away from the prairie lily. As he swims away, our video is going to come to a close. I hope you enjoyed this very interesting interaction between the two families. I hope that my interpretation of what we saw is reasonably accurate. I'll definitely be back over the next few days to see if anything further happens, and if I see anything interesting, I'll be sharing it here. Cheers.